I got swindled into this new phone. Actually, it's my fault. It was an impulse buy. I saw something and I was like, I must have this phone. And I hope I can return it. It's one of those situations where I was traveling, you have a 30-day, trial period, and I'm like at the 30 days. So I messaged them on if I can return this phone. So I feel like it's always blurry, and I really don't have time for this. Technology is not my friend. I know that a lot of people love it, but like, I'm not a fan. So I'm sure I said this before somewhere, either on the podcast or the vlog, but my physical therapist told me when you put out one fire, that was just the biggest one, like the one that needed the most attention at the time. But when you put that out, you see there's a whole bunch of other smaller fires that you still have to put out. And that's what it's like inside my body with all of these knots. And what stretching and dancing does is I like helps identify the places that I need to massage the most. Like it brings the fire to, to its boiling point sometimes. Today, I went to New York and I did not stretch. I just ran the whole week. That was my marathon. And so, I have to, it's so interesting. I was thinking about it today. Like in my mind, I'm not getting older, but my body is obviously getting older. And the better you take care of your body, the longer it will last. And, we're all doing our best with the time and the resources and the energy that we have. But that's why I like to dance, because dance is fun. Like, it doesn't have to be professional. It doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to be on beat. You can just dance. Dance around your room, your living room, well, your bathroom, your office. I really want to be in a flash mob one day. I'm putting that on my bucket list. I don't think it's on there yet, but that would be pretty cool. I think life should be, I don't want it to be a musical. Like, I don't think everything needs to be, have a song. But you can always dance. You don't even need music. You just need yourself.
Yo sé que tú lo dudas, que yo te quiero tanto. Si quieres me abro el pecho y te entrego el corazón.
It's Christmas time. I went out the other day, and the only thing that brought a smile to my face was the Christmas decorations. So I immediately, no, it took me days, but eventually I put up my Christmas tree, and having the Christmas spirit in the house is an enjoyable experience, especially with the way that things are going, right? I am actively engaging with people in the comment section of various different posts on various different pages. I have lived outside of the US for over 7 years, which I've said before. So that gives me an outsider's view of what's happening in the States. But that's the thing, it's not just happening in the States, it's happening everywhere. And when you live in the United States, it's very much a box. It's a box that centers the United States and whatever is happening in our world, in our ethos. It's very rare to hear of news from outside of the US on major stations. Maybe there's a little coverage and then there's a little banner at the bottom of the screen, but you really have to seek out in-depth world news. And at the same time, it is given to you through a filtration system. You get to see, like when they talk about anything happening on the continent of Africa, it's one thing. You get to see one snapshot of an entire continent. And so people think that they have it all figured out. They have, the entire world figured out because they feel like they're informed based on the world as it is presented to them. There are people who are genuinely advocating for the vote of Joe Biden simply because he's the Democratic nominee. Prior to that, like a far right wing, anti everything equality leader was elected in the Netherlands, which, to be fair, wasn't really that surprising. It was Dutch. They still do blackface there. So please, that's not a shock. Today, I saw the far right wing party having a little tent outside of the Christmas market. Um, they're doing everything they can to pull people to their side, to the stripping away of the rights and the humanity of certain demographics. And they still do blackface in Spain, so it's also not a surprise. It's about to be blackface season in Europe. Like inside my house, it's cute and cozy, Christmassy. I'm feeling the Christmas vibe. Hey, chill. But outside of it's Blackface City. So, just as I was saying, what's happening to one is happening to everyone. In the US, there's a little bit of a vacuum where you feel like your entire world is what you see around you. But really, everything that's happening in the world is intertwined. Like, we can't just think about ourselves as an island, which I very much was there. I very much felt like I was an island. I felt like I was living on an island, like by myself. I had no one, especially after my mom passed. Like, I felt like I was drowning.
I was all by myself and I had to do everything by myself because like talking and seeking support wasn't really encouraged, I felt like, or supported. It's like when you someone asks you how you're doing and you go to talk to them about it and they're like, that's personal, or like I just feel like a lot of people are still guarded more so a few years ago, but now like who was I going to turn to work through my innermost thoughts? My mom was gone. I didn't have any siblings. My grandparents are of a different generation. So I very much felt like I was alone. But my experience actually wasn't unique. Like the more that I talked to people and the more that people opened up, it was like, oh my gosh, you're struggling with this too, or you're struggling with something else. But and the end result is the same feeling of like hopelessness, loneliness, despair, depression, anxiety. I was there. I was living that life. I had the anxiety all throughout my body. That's why my body is partially so jacked up now. Yeah, sure. I had the water slide accident when I was 10. I almost drowned as well before that. And then I had like 4 or 5 car accidents. But also, anxiety wreaks havoc on your body. When I was with my ex-boyfriend, I could feel his anxiety in my body and I didn't like it. I was like, we cannot go on like this. I cannot go on like this. You can continue to deny the physical response that you're having to whatever feelings you're not letting out. That's fine. You can eat that, but I'm not eating it anymore. And I'm especially not eating anyone else's anxiety. Like, I'm not eating that shit anymore. If there's something going on with me, I need to address it. Maybe not at that second or that moment or that day, but eventually I need to figure out like what is causing me stress and anxiety because it manifests in my body. And I don't know if a lot of people understand that. Like your neck is hurting. A lot of people have migraines and headaches. I used to have migraines and headaches. Doctors would say was muscle tension. But yes, like what is this tension coming from? Because I am tense all the time. I am tensing my muscles all the time because I'm so stressed. I feel like I have to hold my breath to keep all of the plates in the air that I think I'm juggling. And if one crashes down, well, what will happen? I will collapse into a pile of dust or something. It wasn't until recently I realized that I like wasn't breathing most of the time. Like I had to start to remind myself to breathe because I was always holding my breath, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the other shoe to drop because this was just like the pattern I felt like I had experienced in my past. Almost in fight or flight mode, like you're just preparing for like the next bad news or the next catastrophe or the next hashtag or the next bomb or the next bill or the next, like whatever it is, unless you are, even if you have money, like, listen, this is the thing. Like, I would love for everyone to try and keep in mind is that we're all having a human experience, not necessarily always a black experience. It's not always a woman experience. It's not always a man experience. It's not always a straight person experience. We're all having a human experience that can and should look differently for each and every one of us because we are one individual human having said experience. But at the same time, there is a shared human experience, whether you are one of the richest people in the world or one of the most beloved or one of the most powerful or one of the most poor. You're having a human experience. You can experience suffering, you can experience joy no matter how much money you have. And I think for too long, joy has been equated to money, right? Like joy, power, access, success has been equated to money and status. But it doesn't matter how much money you have to experience joy or life fulfillment or satisfaction or despair. Like a lot of powerful, wealthy, beloved people. who seem to have everything going for them suffer and we lose them. And oftentimes, based on what I hear from people, oh, that really like resonated throughout the room. What I have heard from people is that they feel like they don't have anywhere to go to be themselves. Like there is this self that's like bubbling up inside of them, wanting to break out, but every single person in their life, they feel, and life itself is like lining them up in this box, making sure that they don't step outside of it. I also heard this from a beautiful couple that I went to visit with their two children, and like they don't feel like they have anyone to talk to because everyone is like living in the past or only able to accept the past versions of who they were. If you are doing the life thing and you're doing the life thing to its full capacity, then every experience reshapes you a little bit. Like everything can make an impact. You choose, right? You choose whether maybe it just smudges you a little bit on your leg and you're like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to leave that here. Or it can like deeply penetrate your soul and stick with you for the rest of your life. There are so many things that I have discovered that I remember that seem or seemed at the time inconsequential, or things that I had suppressed, but they're there. These moments that I've had have made a mark on me one way or another. The way someone treated me, something that someone said to me, the way that someone looked at me, what has happened to my body, not just the accidents, but the trauma that I have endured at the hands of men, emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual. They all leave a mark. You get to choose how much of that smudges up your life, your aura, your spirit, but they all make an impact. And so for these people, this couple, to have like us visitors come to hang out with them and allow them to be themselves, allow them to really expand throughout the room and not feel like they have to keep themselves neatly packed in an envelope. ¿Cómo baila la nena? ¿Cómo baila la nena? ¿Cómo baila la nena? ¿Cómo baila la nena? People want to expand. Someone said this to me at the ayahuasca retreat. I said, how do you feel? And he's like, I feel like I'm expanding. I was in this little box right here. I looked really cute and like tightly wrapped and everything looked nice. But actually, I want to be like this. I want to keep growing. I want to be like a chia pet. You know, the chia pets, you keep watering it and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. Plants, if we allow them to grow, they grow. If you take a plant out of its pot, maybe its pot is smaller, you put it into a bigger plant, the plant will grow. Some plants, I can't say for all, but my plants have experienced that. But they also stay inside the size pot that you give them. Their roots will wrap really tightly and woundly, or you can put more earth, more mulch, more dirt, more soil, and give them room to grow. We are all plants. And we are all supposed to be watering each other. It is so much easier to water and care for something than to destroy it. It seems like it's easy to destroy something. Yes, you can demolish a building in 2.5 seconds. And it does take a long time to build that building. So I guess that's not a good analogy, but it feels so much easier to love and care for something or someone else, because this process of care, this process of watering, this process of seeing something grow because of you is fulfilling and enriching. It feeds you as well. I understand that like exerting pain on other people comes as a result of pain that one has experienced. Like the less you address your pain, the more that pain festers, has no place to go, at least no place healthy. What happens is you start taking it out on other people. That's also a life lesson for me. It's like whatever is happening with someone else is not a result of me. Maybe I am a mirror of something that's making them upset, that's triggering them, that's causing them to respond this way, but it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I can absolutely be a mirror to someone, but I am not the mirror. And that has helped me a lot. That has really helped me a lot, especially engaging with people on the internet. And I can tell, I mean, I don't even have to be psychic. I can tell like when something is not coming from a genuine place. Like this is something that I have really either it's a natural ability or something that I've honed, but I can absolutely 100% tell when someone is being genuine. I get bamboozled. I get shucked and jived a little bit, okay? At least I used to with my exes, right? In the beginning, they would sell themselves as a person that they could be, right? Like they had the potential to be that person, but they didn't want to do the work to maintain being that person or to grow as that person. And I can see that too. I can see when the effort stops. So I can tell when something is coming from a genuine place. And a lot of people are just genuinely not informed. Or a lot of people are committed to their ideas despite any opposing facts or experiences or imagery or rhetoric. And those people have to save themselves, you know? If you are stuck in your box, if you are comfortable in your box, if you are comfortable in the alternative reality that you have created for yourself, then I really don't feel like I'm going to be the one to get you out of there. You have to save yourself. You have to at least open the box yourself. You know, like the code to get out is on the inside. But then once you're outside of the box, you can float around, you can meet people like me. You just got to get out of the box. You got to get out of the box. You have to. If you're in the box, you got to get out of the box. You have to get out of the box. You have to get out of the box. It's for your own safety. Okay? I think that's all for today. I'm going to go to the weed shop. I love the weed shop. I love weed. Ah, my bottle. Today, I'm recording this on Small Business Saturday. When I go to the shop, I'm going to do a little social media post. But I'm a small business owner. Um, I love a good DIY. And so I created this tequila brand in honor of my late mother. And I would love any support, even if it's a like on Instagram, or if it's a bottle purchase, or if it's a share, or if it's a Christmas gift. Um, I appreciate any support. Small Business Saturday, support small businesses, shop small.